Donnie Houston.
Yeah, man, it's going down. This Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a real special, and I say this all the time, but this is a real special guest, man. You know what I'm saying? Real special guest. Representing that South, man. You know what I'm saying? Representing being black. You feel me? Representing just all the shit that I'm about, man. You know what I mean? I've been watching this guy, man. He just told me it's been 20 years since this one particular record. So 20 years plus, man. He's been out here. He's an actor. He's a Grammy Award winning producer, artist, all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, David Banner.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man. DH, man, what's happening, dog? Man, first of all, I want to tell you that I'm proud of you because what you've been able to accomplish in such a big market, bro, is amazing. And a lot of times, man, people are afraid to give each other their just due. I tell people all the time, I believe that I'm a God. And when I see another God, it doesn't take away from my light. I want to help you shine. Because when it's my time to shine, what's the tone on the show? Can I say fuck?
You say whatever you want, yeah.
I can say fuck.
Whatever you want.
Because I had made up my mind I wasn't going to fucking cuss. So I was
No. This shit open. This shit wide open. We do whatever we want, yeah.
So the thing is, man, is I just... when I see stuff, man, because sometimes, man, it's one of my mentees owns one of the most popular new shops in hip hop, like in hip hop culture, and at one time, which I can say it, you know what I'm saying, so y'all can shop with him. Scotty ATL got a grill shop.
I know Scotty ATL.
In Atlanta, and on Melrose now in LA, he's about to open up a shop in New York.
Oh man!
And I remember at one time he had called me and was like, bro, I don't want to do this shit no more. Like, I want to get back to rapping. And I told Scotty, I was like, bro, what you doing is bigger, bro. And he, like, if you can get a sustainable business, bro, where you making money for your family, like, every day, you can go back to rapping anytime you want to. I was like, man, build that business. And I'm not saying that I'm the reason why he kept going, but I know I was one of the influences. And look at what it's turning into now. They had him on the Steve Harvey show. He did the grills. He flew to Italy and did Issa Rae's grills for her wedding, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it's those small words that people say. You know what I'm saying? I remember Pimp C telling me, like, Banner, you smart. It's gonna take a little time for people to catch up with you. He was like, man, just make a couple of more like a Pimps, man. And at the time I didn't do it because I was so focused on, you know, trying to make my people aware. And I realized you can be conscious as you want to, but if people don't understand, then it's just like you not saying anything. Malcolm said by any means necessary. And that also means that you may have to go back to the trenches. And as long as it's genuine and your intent is right, I'm going back to get my people. You know what I'm saying? But we jamming like a motherfucker at the same time. Know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Man, we just started off on this thing. I was going to start off on some other shit. I was on some pulled up on a tour bus, rolling the blunt. Then heard it. What your baby mama want? Nothing but dick sucking. Come on, man.
Yeah, shout out to Damo.
Come on, man.
Damo did that.
Come on.
Man.
Damo did that?
Yeah.
Shout out Damo, man.
Damo did 3 beats on my second album, man. Damo's a really fucking good friend of mine, man.
No shit, I fuck with Damo. I'm still
You know, it's
waiting
crazy. Back in the day when I first started really coming to Houston, like Odd Squad, Blind Rob, Jug,
Yeah,
you know, of course, Devin on the new album.
How early were you coming out here?
Long time before Like a Pimp. I'm talking about 90, 96, 97,
Oh shit.
98.
Was Qriket Letters and all that going at this time, or were
we
you
were
kind
coming
of?
out here before, right before Qriket Letters, like, you know what I'm saying? I said 96, 97, 98, right around that time, bro. Like, and broke, man. Like, I'm talking about having to figure out how to get gas to get back. You know what I'm saying?
And this y'all was y'all, cause y'all weren't in the system. Y'all was just independent act, just on the grind, moving
just
on the
like,
road.
come on, man. We was from you know how hard it is in this rap game, and then we from Mississippi. The system wasn't even, like, man, it wasn't even comprehensible, bro. And it's funny because I had a watch saying this, but it's funny, like, but then, like, when I put out the Firewater Boys and that started moving, you know, after the Qriket Letters, my first independent album, man, I used to come down here, man. I got a $70,000 check from Southwest Distribution, and then they went bankrupt the next month.
Shout out Robert Gilliman, man.
So he probably mad because I ain't never had to pay that money back, man. They went bankrupt, man. You know what I mean? But, like, I've been on the grind, man. I used to go up and down, just 20, man. Like, everywhere that I had to go, man. Like, we were there. I remember Goody Mob saw me in Atlanta, and I beat them to Houston. You know what I'm saying? Stopping in Birmingham, coming all the way through, bro. Like, until I got to Houston, man. And like, that's always been me. I never forget, man. When I got that $10 million deal, it was a white producer.
The 10 mil came at what point? This was played
that was
around
Like
that
a Pimp. No, that was Like a Pimp.
Oh, you got 10 million Like a Pimp.
Yeah, $10 million. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
But when I got that deal, man, I was, all right, quick story. So you ever heard about my van and me sleeping in my van, being homeless, and I built a studio in my van?
Flip told me about that.
Yeah, so I built a whole studio in my van. Like, a lot of times when people make excuses about what they don't have, like, I used to make drops for the DJs, even do verses. If you go back and listen to Mississippi, the album, the first album, the interludes, I set up a studio on the passenger side.
You still in the van at that time?
Yeah. And I used to put the mic right next to, like, the steering wheel, and I recorded my interludes in the van. People, I don't talk about this, but I basically, and I didn't think about this, I had a 3-state distribution plant in my van that I was sleeping in. Any store that wanted me, I would drive the shit as long as it was in the 3 states that was, like, 2 states that was around Mississippi. I drove that bitch. And what people don't know, I may have been one of the first artists to have a website on the internet to sell CDs, because when I was selling the Firewater Boys, most artists didn't even know what the internet was. I had a homeboy from college that had a radio show at LSU. He was in the computer programming, and he had got a job at Xerox. So he was way ahead of technology. So he set up a website. And you can ask some people, man, like, some people, like, literally, when I would get the order in and he would call me, I would take that shit to their house, bro. You know, so anyway, the point is that my van got stolen in Birmingham. And the only thing that they didn't steal was my pistol, because I had my pistol on me. And I've always been good with vibes and feelings. Like, I guess that come from Mississippi and, you know, growing up with my grandmothers and all that kind of shit. So I felt like I knew who them dudes were. And I heard a voice that said, like, turn around. And so I called a girl that I was dating at the time. She drove from Jackson, Mississippi, and came and got me in Birmingham, right? Come to find out, that's where my van was found, in the area that I thought it was going to be. But 3 months later, when Steve Rifkin called me and said he wanted to give me $10 million, I was still on the road. Guess where I was driving through when he asked me to sign the deal? Birmingham.
Oh, shit.
I signed, I think it was 17th Street in downtown Birmingham at the Kinko's. Is where I signed that $17 million deal. So it was like, to me, God was telling me, if you listen to my voice, listen to your spirit, they can take everything away from you, and I give it back 10 million times. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, that's cool. But can you take? Cause this is what like. Can we talk a little bit about Qriket Letters? Because I know, of course, everybody know the record with Pimp and all that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even think most people knew, because like I was so honored that Screw, you know what I'm saying, did his thing to that song. But I don't even think most people knew that had anything to do with me, and that came from my group. Because Paul Wall sampled it for one of his big joints. You know what I'm saying? I sampled it.
On this new one.
Like most people don't even know that. Like it was really cool. And if I had to clear it for me, I used to say, "Hey, me, can I use your song?" And I was like, "Yeah, me, you can." And I signed off on it. That's actually something that is real cool, though, Donnie. Like when I sign contracts, I'm signed to a Banner Vision, so I have to sign David Banner and sign off David Banner. I think that shit pretty cool. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But yeah, Qriket Letters was. A lot of people don't know this about me. I was a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was funny when people were in the listening party, when they heard the lyrics, because there is no flaw section on this album on the God Box 2 at fucking all. I put this album against anybody. As a matter of fact, I want to do something one day where I tell a motherfucker, pick a number. Pick a number on my album, then pick a number on anybody else's shit randomly. Spin that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'll put any song at any time against any song at any time on anybody else's album on this motherfucker. Verse for verse, beat for beat. Like this shit's jamming. So like with Qriket Letters, like I was into hip hop. And the reason why I was into hip hop, because when I was growing up, Jackson, Mississippi, or it still is. Since I was growing up, since I was in junior high, Jackson, Mississippi has been in the top 15 of the murder capitals per capita. And the sad part about it is that since we have such a concentrated city, you can't, like in other cities, you can go a month, 2 months, you know, without seeing, you know, an op. You can't do that where I'm from.
So smart.
Like it's 3 days max. And like, the sad part about where I'm from is it's so fucking peaceful when it ain't popping. So it's like birds chirping and shit. Tweet, 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 tweet. What? It's deer. And what's the bird, Sally? It's deer and pelicans in my backyard. Nah, we did a song with Flip last night. He said that shit was so jamming. It's so peaceful. And it just get popping. Like, sound like you in Iraq and that motherfucker.
Is it a gang issue, territory? Like what be the beef? Or is it just small time niggas just, you know?
It's a little bit of everything. I'm gonna say something here that I've never said anywhere else, but it's the truth. And I know motherfuckers is gonna twist this up. And I hate when people would take a clip and then people won't look at it. I just got in an argument with one of my greatest friends because they took a clip and I was like, motherfucker, go look at the whole fucking segment, then you'll understand why I said that. But to a certain degree, dope hitting Jackson was a good thing. Only from the perspective that people stopped killing each other over colors and people really didn't go after each other unless it had to do with money. So if it didn't have nothing to do with money, sort of the senseless killing and just like, you know, the drive-by and motherfuckers getting killed over some bullshit, of kids getting hit, that shit sort of went down because if it wasn't about no money, then it was whatever. And people who normally wouldn't have fucked with each other because of color, shit, if he got the plug,
we can get some money together.
And we can get some money together, man. We talk about that other shit later, Jack. And I'm not saying that that's a positive thing, but if something negative can keep people alive, you know what I'm saying? And then make those who may not understand what freedom and other opportunities are, if it'll give them opportunity to focus. Because money and pain, when either of those things are on a motherfucker ass, has a way of making you focus a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? And so, like Qriket Letters, man, like, although I was a certain way in the streets, I never understood why you want to live in hell then rap about hell. I would always listen to hip hop because hip hop took me somewhere else.
It was an escape for you.
Like, I would listen to a Tribe Called Quest because these motherfuckers is talking about El Segundo. I didn't know where the fuck El Segundo was. You know what I'm saying? NWA was like, fuck the police. I had never heard nobody be that fucking brave. And although that was gangster music, their mentality about what they were talking about was different. It painted another picture. I always said, if you're gonna be a killer, like think of something else. Like, give a motherfucker about 17 cuts on his chest, set up a big ass motherfucking fan and throw salt on that motherfucking, beat his ass to death. You know, make the shit entertaining to me. You know what I mean? So Qriket Letters, I told everybody, it was like when I started being the David Banner that y'all love, it was basically because of Pimp C and Pastor Troy. Like, when Pimp was like, we don't do hip hop, we do country rap tunes. Like, Pastor Troy said, as long as I got GA, I don't need nothing else. And when I heard no playing GA, I said, you can do that on the radio now? I'm going back home. The other thing that happened to me was that I freestyled at Freaknik in the back of Morris Brown, I believe that was. And
this just sounds so live. Like,
it was painful though. I was broke than a motherfucker, G. Like, I don't even listen to a lot of my old music, man, because it was so fucking painful when I made that shit, man. When I did the song with Scarface off of the album That You Love, man, I was so fucking high and depressed that after I said the last word, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was still recording. Like, that shit had recorded for like literally about 8-9 hours, bro.
But that's like that's second solo though. You was still kind of mentally kind of in the place.
Well, bro, think about this. I went from being homeless to being a millionaire, bro. Like, literally from sleeping in my van to, no bullshit, a quarter of everybody in the world knowing who the fuck I was. And imagine this. You in a poor state in the United States, and the motherfucker say, he got $10 million.
That's stress.
Shit.
Yeah.
Dog, I remember when I went from being the honey, from me being the motherfuckers that looking at motherfuckers and thinking like, yeah, to I was the one. There was this club in Mississippi that was called the Birdland. And this is where all the hustlers went to. It's where all the hustlers went to, and all of the Hasidity girls that was fucking hustlers. Like, you would walk in there and be like, damn, this where y'all go?
Yeah.
But this is where the money was and the excitement. And I remember I used to just go there, man, because there was a realness about it that you couldn't get nowhere else. You know, it may not, you know, and they would let me in there with my pistol. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I used to go there, and I remember how comfortable I used to be. I would go out in the world, and the Birdland is where I would, you know, rest in peace, Big Sean. My owner died not too long ago, but that was one of the places where I could get peace. And I remember, you know, and I always tell people, if I was a little bit shorter, a little less aggressive, and if I had done less in the streets, I don't know if I would have been here. So that's the reason why, if you ever notice, I do something crazy every now and then, or like it'll be an Instagram, and I let it go past my AR real quick, just to let a motherfucker to know that the old Dave Banner still in this bitch, and I put it on your ass. And I'd rather you be in the ground and we try to figure the other shit out than me be in the ground and y'all say I was innocent. Fuck that. But I remember being in the club, man, and I remember the day I felt like motherfuckers was trying to size me up. And I knew I had to keep moving. Like, I knew if I wouldn't have started working like I worked, either somebody would have killed me or I'd have killed somebody. You know what I mean? So.
Man, take me, because we moved a little bit past the Qriket Letters before I wanted to get past it, because, man.
Oh, so I didn't answer your question. It's all right,
No. We got, that's cool, but can you just talk about, because, I mean, well, shit's so much shit to talk about. We're going to be here 4 hours if I really run through this shit the way I want to. But on Qriket Letters, can you talk about, because I read about in Julie Beverly's book about how y'all went to Pimp House in the A, you know what I'm saying? And he did the rock box interpolation and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
all right, so
that whole experience.
So it's crazy because the real truth is that I remember telling Brad, who was Kamikaze, my rap partner in Qriket Letters, I remember we recorded the 3 demo songs. And I said, man, send that shit to the source. And he was like, man, them motherfuckers ain't checking for us. I said, man, send them motherfucking shit, because he had a regular office job. So he used to be in that bitch tearing up their Xerox machine and sending shit out in FedEx and all that kind of shit. And I was like, bro, fuck what you talking about. Just send the shit, bro. Like, it ain't nothing but you doing the shit for free anyway, bro. Just send it. And he ended up sending it to the source, and we ended up getting unsigned hype in the source, bro. And so, like, from there, you know, we ended up getting a deal in LA. That deal ended up closing, and the girl who worked, the publicist there, her name is Zenobia. Damn, I usually don't remember shit. I remember that. Her name was Zenobia. Zenobia went to Penalty Records, and she took our demo with us, and we ended up getting signed to Penalty. But the problem was, we were a quasi-street group with knowledge of self, hip-hop, but still Southern. Bro, they ain't know what the fuck.
They ain't know how to put it together.
They ain't know what the fuck to do with us, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they shelved us. I moved to New York homeless. I had never been to New York in my life. At the time, I was dealing with one of the finest motherfuckers in the world. She was half black, half Puerto Rican. She looked just like Aaliyah. And
she gonna love this when she see it. if she just so happened to come across the
her baby daddy ain't gonna like it, because it's funny. It's funny. Her baby daddy name is Lavelle, and that's my real name. And he was a little bit chubby in the face, and they call him Big Face, and that was the name of my album. I mean my old record label. But I thought that I could. She stayed in Trenton, New Jersey, and I thought that I could catch the train from her house to New York and go back and forth at least every week. And come to find out, I have a $350 in my pocket, and the one-way ticket was almost half of that. So I had, you know, her mom loved me so much from when we dated and when I was in grad school, and so she let me stay there. I took the one way and I never came back. I ended up sleeping on Wendy Day's floor.
No shit.
And I went to Penalty every day and stood outside in front of Penalty, my big ass. So every day Neil Levine came to work, I was standing there. And I said, I'm gonna be here every day until you, because they had shelved our album. I said, I'm gonna sit here every day, all day, until you put my album out. And I guess he got tired of that big, tall, black motherfucker up in his office on his ass every day. And they didn't ship but like 20,000. We sold 17.5, and he got me out that office. You know what I'm saying? Something that's really important to me that I don't say enough. Noriega actually bought the first David Banner beat that anybody's ever bought in history for his little brother's group. And so Qriket Letters came out. They wouldn't shoot a video. Nori actually, I don't know if you remember that $1 Million video that Nori shot. Nori actually told Neil Levine, get them boys $100,000, let them shoot a video. Because Nori was one of the people, him and Cypher Sound were two New York cats who wasn't fronting about liking the South. Like, Nori loved Southern music. And he wanted to see us succeed. He said, I'll give you $100,000, just shoot the fucking video. Because remember, he was on the Firewater song.
Right.
And Neil Levine wouldn't even do it.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So we ended up pushing it out. I ended up coming back home, starting my own label, man, and everything just took off from there.
So when you came back home, did your partner decide to kind of just, you know, go stay working and get out of the business, or like how did it come to the point to where you were a solo at?
No, man, I don't really like to talk about that aspect of it because some things that we have to be men enough and honorable enough. I wouldn't want to tell my side unless he was here, because he should be able to defend himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just say that, you know, I was producing and I was doing, you know, setting up the structures for the songs, and stuff wasn't moving like I wanted it to move. And I realized that if I went by myself, then I wouldn't have to wait, because he had kids. He had responsibilities that I didn't have. I could go at a drop of a dime.
I've been in situations like that. I know exactly what
all I needed was enough money to get to the next gas station, because I used to sell my CDs at each gas station in order to get gas to get where I was going. And so I realized that And that's one of the reasons why rap is the way that it is now, and you don't have as many groups. Because if you can move and make stuff happen and you don't have no extra weight, then you the only one that you got to worry about. And then you could take all the responsibility of anybody else away by you doing what you have to do.
Yeah. Okay, so we still breezed over this shit. I don't know how, man.
Well, what answer you look at? Ask directly.
Because we were talking about the Pimp C thing. We talked about Qriket Letters. We were talking about how you ended up going to Pimp C, with the Pimp. How you ended up getting to the opportunity to do it.
Oh, Neil Levine asked us when we had the budget. Thank you. Neil Levine had asked us like who we wanted on the album. And it was all hands down, like UGK, Pimp C. At the time, I think that's when Cash Money was starting to really move up independently. So we gave him this list, and they got in contact, found Pimp C some kind of way. We went to his house, and it's funny. I have to say this, and I'm saying this for you, Lee. I'm a really, really big hip hop head. You know what I'm saying? It ain't much that I don't know about music. I mean, all hip hop music all over the world.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I need to do a little bit better with the music after I got on because I had to focus on me. But Pimp C used that rock box from Run DMC. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, somebody just used that sample. Pimp C said, man, is that shit jamming, man? I said, yeah, it's jamming. Fuck that shit, man. My shit jamming, man. You better go with this shit. Get the shit that's jamming, man. And that was the reason why, you know what I mean? When Pimp C said, fuck that shit. If your shit more jamming, then, because I never forget this, man. I never ever talked about this. Pimp had gave me permission to do the murder beat over again. But if I can't at least match the energy, I'm not going to disrespect history, man. I'm going to leave that shit alone. Like, because to me, and I've been saying this, like Bun B verse on Murder may be one of the best verses of all time of any fucking genre of music. So if somebody, it ain't gotta be me, can't get on there and match that motherfucking energy, it's a blessing because I actually thought about it again because I met N.O. Joe at the Verses. And people don't know this, Pimp told me this. Is that Pimp did the beat, but the drums wasn't smacking. Mm-hmm. So he sent the beat to N.O. Joe. N.O. Joe did those drums. So I was like, yo, I could redo the beat and get N.O. Joe to do the drums again, but still if I couldn't complete it. But anyway, Pimp, man, we stayed in his house. He showed us love. I remember giving Pimp The Art of War. And telling him, bro, you probably should check this out. And then, we went on, and when I ended up meeting Pimp later, I said, man, did you read that book? He's like, nah, man, I ain't read it that time, man. Like, I probably would have read it now, man, but nah, I didn't. And he fed us, man. We stayed in the house. We did it at his house, recorded everything. Took us over to Shore House. You know what I'm saying? And that was it.
But that was still very much kind of like, it was still kind of a business type of situation. Yeah, it was a business trip, but you was getting to know him. But then it came full circle when you come out, now you got this money and you come out with this single, sampling him, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, no, I don't think it was that. What happened is that I cleared his voice through Jive. So he didn't, I don't even think when we became friends that he knew that was.
Well, no, that's not the point I was making. What I was making is that like that you had that relationship, but he still became a part of like your huge success when you come out.
But what I was saying was is that like all of it connects, but I don't think even when we really became friends and we was like that, I don't think he ever.
Oh, he didn't remember from.
Nah. Oh. And why? Now that I got this relationship here, why even worry about that shit? Like, let's keep it moving. Like, my mentor told me that a lot of times we be wanting people to know everything, but if it's perfect right now, why change anything? You know what I'm saying? So, and you still to this day, man, like, I wish I could get the acapella. Like, that verse that Pimp did way back then still jams to this motherfucking day, bro. So, yeah, that was history.
Man, okay, doing like a Pimp, like, just talk about just putting that whole record together. Like, I remember the first time I seen it, this is me freshman, sophomore year in college. You know what I'm saying?
What college you went to?
So we was gonna get into that. There's two things we was gonna talk about. Right. That was one of them. At this time I'm at Sam Houston, but I'm an HBCU graduate. Right. I graduated from Texas Southern University, the Texas Southern University. You know what I'm saying? Anybody watching? You feel me? I know you went to Southern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to call SGA president. You know, just a little bit more sentimental to me. But, you know what I'm saying, man? But yeah, man. What happened is that Like a Pimp blew up so big, bro, and I started feeling guilty that this man's voice changed my whole family's life, my whole everything, and he was in prison, and he don't know me. So we had some mutual friends, you know, from a, you know what I mean? So they gave me his address in jail. I wrote him, introduced myself, wrote him a long letter, and I started writing him all the time. And we literally became friends through letters. And what I actually found out is a lot of people didn't write him. You know what I'm saying? And so he used the ASR-10 and keyboards, but he wanted to learn how to use the drum machine. So I took pictures of the drum machine so he could put them together, and then I explained. You were using what?
Because I don't know if Victoria told you, like, I'm a DJ and producer and all that too, so we can talk all that language.
You got some beats?
I got some beats, yeah, for sure. What was a 2000 XL or what you?
No, it was 1000.
1000.
Yeah. No, it was just the 2000. You're right. 1000 didn't come out until later. It was just the regular 2000 because that's when you couldn't put several banks at the same time, so it was real limited. Because I did Rubber Band Man on the regular 2000. Oh man, hold on, man!
I gotta have you sign the instrumental side of this.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna get to that, but yeah.
But yeah, man. And so we stayed in contact, man. And I used to send him pictures and tell him, man, this is where your voice is taking me. So I'm like in Switzerland and Amsterdam and all these places and sending him pictures of really beautiful stuff, man. And we became friends, man. And the crazy thing that a lot of people don't know is that Pimp was coming out to LA with his producers. His producers and me and Juicy J was gonna produce the big Pimp C solo album. You know what I'm saying? He had asked me if he'd come out there and we work out. You know, I was living in LA at the time, and this is a sad story. I rapped on it on his last album that Mr. Lee produced. I talked about this. I was in the studio because that was at the time when I was trying to go to the studio in the daytime so I could start trying to live a regular life and try to get out the studio at least by 7, you know. So he had called me when I was in the middle of a session. I didn't pick up the phone because that's the real homie, you know what I mean? So I called him when I got out the yo. After I got out the yo, I didn't listen to the message, and I kept calling. He didn't pick up, so I was like, bet. Then I heard what happened a couple days later, and then I listened to the message. It was like, man, I'm in LA, man. I'm at LAX, man. Come pick me up, man. Come pick me up. And the thing about me and Pimp that people would be surprised about, Pimp didn't ever talk to me about no bullshit. It was always music. It was always business. It was always about expanding our lives. You know, never about no drugs, no bras, none of that shit that maybe he had the relationships with other people. I think it was I laugh about this all the time. He always say, "Banner, you smart, man." And like we would always talk about things that were gonna benefit our life, man. And I couldn't help but always think if I would have picked up that call and I was the one that went and picked him up, then maybe, just maybe, we don't know because it didn't happen that way, stuff wouldn't be the way that it is. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how that happened.
Yeah. Man, talk about, because you know you brought up that Rubber Band, man, like as a producer, I always say this, like trend setting.
Yeah.
You know, the reason why my beat and this, if I call pilots today, they gonna say my name in the drop. Donnie Houston. Right. The reason why my shit say that, David Banner. Like you the first producer. I mean, Just Blaze would do like reason Just why Blaze, but the tag.
No, I am the reason why people put their name before they beat. Okay. Period. And I was putting my name before my beats, before Rubber Band Man. But what happened is when Rubber Band Man came out, hot, cut my tag off, and Tip got pissed off and say, "Don't touch my motherfucking music. Put that boy name back on there. Play my music like I sent it to you." And the reason why I did it, think about this, bro. Like you said, Jay-Z would say, "Just Blaze, you did it again." His stock go up 10,000. Kanye, you a genius. His shit go up 10,000. Southern artists for some reason wanted to hide their producers. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want them going out dealing with other people and marketing themselves. And I said, well, since nobody will say my name, I'm gonna put my name at the beginning of my song. It was so that people would know who it was. And I remember I ain't gonna even call the artist's name. It was a big artist, one of the biggest artists in the world. And I did the beat for him, and it was like, you know, my album isn't a marketing tool for all of the producers. I said, I'm not worried about them. I started this shit. So you can tell them not to put that shit on there, but I started this shit, and you're not gonna take my shit off my music. You got a choice to make. I'm cool, you know? So with Rubber Band, man, like, Tip was the person that made me a platinum producer. Although I had done Thug Holiday for Trick Daddy, you know what I'm saying? And that was like the year hit, you know what I'm saying? Didn't nobody know who David Banner was at the time. But the fact that Like a Pimp,
It was all simultaneously.
yeah. And so now people could put a face to the David Banner. It made sense. And let me tell you what a dope boy in Chicago told me, man. This is the dopest shit ever. He gave me this, I don't know why, like, man, like, it always give me like this big bag. I'm talking about super big bag of money, man. Like Burger King bag, whatever. They would always give me $100 extra. And I would always give them that $100 back. I want what I want. I get paid a lot of money. I want no more and no less. Now, if they put an extra $100 in that bitch, I'm keeping that motherfucker. But I always was about honor. But I remember being in Chicago, producing for this independent company, man. And I'm talking about the beat was jamming. All the rappers was happy. We was in the studio kicking it. And then we finished the song. The dude that paid for the session, he had stepped out when I had left. And he called me and was like, bro, you got to come back. And I was like, what's wrong, bro? I finished up, everything good. He said, see, they artists. I don't give a fuck about the beat. I give a fuck about the tag. When people hear David Banner, they know it's about to go down. And the fact that in Chicago, they know that I got a beat from David Banner. I could say I got a beat from David Banner, but they ain't gonna believe it until they hear David Banner. He's like, bro, that's what I paid for. He said, they happy, but I paid for the relationship and the tag. I turned back around, went back, pulled out my drum machine like I was gonna do the whole beat, and went, David Banner, and put a little delay on that bitch for him. You know, and he actually taught me a lesson. And that's when I made sure that I always kept doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, you said something that I didn't even notice. You talking about being a battle rapper. Talk about one of my favorite projects, man, Death of a Pop Star.
Wow. For real?
Yes, sir.
Did you do research or are you for real?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, man.
Serious.
Well, first of all, I tell you, man, shout out to
I was waiting. I'm like, y'all gonna do a second one, and then time passed, and then you went on the guy box and whatever. But that was a project that I really.
Well, I'll tell you something, and when I get my money all the way up, I'm gonna put that record back out. Huh? Okay. What happened with the album? I want you to hear the original version with all the Ninth Wonder samples. I couldn't pay for the clearance of all those samples for every record. You know what I mean? And it's sad because people love that album, but like if you go back and listen to Mass 4, like that's the quintessential way that the whole album would have been if I would have just been able to play the samples. But that was a classic album, and to be honest with you, during that time, like I thought I was losing my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the middle of the conscious David Banner and the street David Banner, and they were fighting against each other. Like I felt like I was losing my soul, and it was just crazy. And Ninth Wonder, I met Ninth Wonder, because actually Bobby, who does the Tiny Desk, you know, he went to Jackson State. So he was the one that introduced me. I was on tour. He introduced me to Ninth Wonder, and me and Ninth Wonder got tight like this. And I told him what I was going through. He was like, man, Manny Fresh had gave me a 96 Impala. It was funny because...
He just gave it to you?
Yeah.
I like the way you said it, yeah.
That was really dope, bro. Like, that was an alley-oop. Yeah, he gave it to me. And it looked like the FedEx truck. Like, it was purple and loud orange. And I drove from Mississippi to North Carolina. He said, just get here. I'll take care of everything. You ain't got to worry about no studio time, no food, no nothing. And I drove on the rims, low pro tires, all the way to North Carolina. And it was funny. I used to get that Dave Chappelle box set, and I watched the whole Dave Chappelle shit all the way going to North Carolina. And we did Death of a Pop Star. And bro, like, that was a special project. And I'll say this, that's one of the reasons why I get so angry at hip hop, especially as it pertains to the South, is, you know, you remember that song 21 Savage did with J. Cole?
Yeah.
Like, bro, like, why hip hop didn't pick him up? You know what I'm saying? When we do the shit that we supposed to do, or not supposed to do, but what they say we should do.
Yeah.
Then they don't give a motherfucker credit. I remember going to tell, because Charlamagne and Joe Buttons were talking about the top 5 albums, and Charlamagne tried to elect the God Box as one of the best albums, because Charlamagne said the God Box is one of the best albums ever. And he tried to elect it, and then Joe Buttons said, well, I haven't heard it before. But I had sent it to Joe Buttons 3 times. And so when we was at Puffy Party, you remember when I pulled him to the side? I pulled him to the side like, bro, like, what you doing? Like, you be so mad about the state of hip hop, but when people trying to do it, you don't hold them up, bro. I said, I sent it to you 3 times. And then he was like, Benny, I can't lie. Charlamagne sent it to me 1 time too. Bro, why you not listening to it? You know, is it that you don't want to hear that? Like, what is it? And so, like, I used to sit back and wait on the motherfuckers to give us our shit. I'm gonna take it this time. I ain't never been no egocentric motherfucker, but I know this is stats. This is stats. I ain't capping. Motherfucker, I know what I get. I put it against anything. I am a student of what I thought hip hop was, man. Have you ever seen the Wiz?
Yeah, for sure.
You remember when they got up there and they saw that motherfucker Richard Pryor was, you know, he just a regular ass dude. That's how I felt when I really saw what hip hop was. That shit broke my heart, bro. You know, and if they not gonna give it to if they're not gonna give it to Common, if they're not gonna give it to the fucking Roots, if they ain't gonna give it to Andre 3000, motherfuckers knew how good Outkast and Andre was, so they made them a rock group. They didn't even want to give it to him in hip hop so bad. They'll say, you the best rap group, the best rock group, or you one of the best artists, then how you gonna jump over hip hop and not give him credit there first? What the fuck? Like, so what I think they're gonna do to me? So I looked at what the West Coast did. The West Coast didn't ask for approval. They took their fucking approval. Do something about it. You feel me? So like, that's what I'm on now. You know, so either give proper credit or we take proper credit. You make the choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, because they've been hitting me. I know we got to get up out, but I want to present something to you real quick. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Definitely.
Make sure that I tell people about the single. I tell them about the God Box too. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I open it now?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I know you got the new single "Swangin," which is going crazy with the mid condition sample. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man! Look at this. Hold on. Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? I'm not trying to be greedy, bro.
Yeah.
Do you have one more of these?
I just got the one I'm wearing.
Cause I wanna if you get an opportunity, give Latoya another. Cause I want one that I can put like in my history stuff, and then one that I could wear every day.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Or on the days that I wear it. What's in here?
Check it out, man. Okay.
Oh, my cup.
You said you was gonna prop, so just
man. Man, thank you so much. What kind? What is this? What kind is this? Oh shit. Now, what's funny, Lee, go ahead and tell him, bro. Yeah. Like, I be trying not to go hard no more because I done lost all this weight, bro, so I drink a lot of wine.
Yeah.
But the problem is I started drinking, great wine, red wines, but I drink a bottle. So that's almost as bad, man. You know what I'm saying? I can stay on the hand if I'm going to do it like that.
Yeah.
But, man, I appreciate you. I just want to say that I appreciate Houston in the way that they came out for me, man. I appreciate helping to prop me up. If you even think about it, Flip and Pimp C own like a pimp. Like, that was the beginning of helping me open up the world in Mississippi. And I'm really grateful. My path has been long, bro. And I tell people this all the time. They tell me, I'm a legend and I'm all great and all that kind of shit. But what they don't really understand, I'm just getting started. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm focused. I look good. It's two things that ain't never did nothing for a Southern black man. That's cotton and ropes. So I'm there. I'm done wearing shirts in 2 weeks and I ain't gonna wear another motherfucking tie. I'm gonna be out in the world with no shirt and like hairy bear pussy on my back. You know what I'm talking about? Like Conan the fucking Barbarian, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But man, the God Box 2 coming out really soon. Swangin, aka Chad, featuring Bun B. Y'all can go pick that shit.
Jamming.
Yeah, by the time you see this, that shit gonna be out. What else, Lee? DavidBanner.com. You can go buy up a whole bunch of shit. And the next time we come, my whole life is gonna be different because we're working on some technology that's gonna change the culture of music, period. I don't know if you saw this, man, but they ghosted me for about 7 months on Instagram. Like, so much so that in order for you to follow me, you had to sign a disclaimer. Like, it's crazy just because of my politics. They took Killer Calleone's page from him. You know what I'm saying? And you got white supremacists, you got people dying on Instagram, and then that's what you do to artists that speaking facts. It's so crazy, man. In the state of Texas, they got a federal holiday for Juneteenth, but you can't even teach it in class. That's some bullshit.
Crazy.
D, I appreciate you. My name is David Banner. Thank you.
Man, it's been an honor. Listen, I know you're on the time schedule, man. Sometime, hopefully, we can connect later on how you come through, man.
Come to the show, man. 50-15 Sunday.
Tomorrow. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm going to come fuck with you.
Promise?
Yeah, I'm going to come fuck with you. Yeah, for sure. Listen, man, it's been a real honor, man. Listen, David Banner. There's people that I always talk, the podcast has allowed me to cross paths with people that I've just dreamed of kind of connecting with, you know what I'm saying? So, man, it's been a real honor.
Love, man. Thank y'all. Peace.
All right, it's Donnie Houston Podcast. David Banner, we up out of here.
Houston.
Subscribe to the Donnie Houston Podcast, man.